Hey everybody, Dr. Mark Arcuri here in Santa Fe, New Mexico this evening. Full disclosure, I am not actually live in this moment if you're watching at the time that we're streaming on Facebook, but I'm recording this in the morning. It's about 12 hours earlier at 6 a.m. Here in Santa Fe, and I'm blessed to have some workers up on the roof who are replacing my roof. My entire roof needed to be redone this year after some snow and ice this winter got the best of it. It started leaking. So now is the time before a little bit of a rainy season, our monsoon as we call it here in the high desert starts in a few weeks. And but anyway, when they're up on the roof, they started yesterday. It sounds like they're building a brand new house up there. So not going to happen that we can take the chance of being able to sit and do a live broadcast later in the day when things might be a little bit crazy up there. So anyway, thank you so much for being here whenever that is, whether you're live with us on Wednesday evening or listening to a podcast or watching a replay at some point on Instagram, Facebook, not Instagram, it's too long for Instagram, but Facebook or YouTube. Any place it might be, or on our website over at drmarkacure.com. So, our topic this week on our continued journey on Paradise Rediscovered is Chapter 5 of my upcoming book called Paradise Rediscovered. Chapter 5 is called Part 2, Chapter 5, Inner Integrity. And it's a critical piece of that journey of rediscovery, as I'm sure you can imagine. Getting in touch with who you really are is all about learning about your values and your morals and your just the truths that you hold and how you live those out from day to day. And as you become more in touch with that, as you go through this journey of rediscovering who you really are, and you become more in touch with what those inner light posts, signposts, guides that you have are, you begin living your life more and more in integrity with that true self, that authentic self that we talk about so much. And I've had many experiences in my life over the years with getting glimpses of what that inner integrity is for me. And I was thinking this morning a little bit earlier, I've been up for a couple of hours already, even though it's only 6 a.m. Thinking about one of the earliest experiences I can remember, and what came to me was probably not one of the earliest experiences, but something that happened about 20 years ago. And I had a friend in town who at that time, she's quite a bit older than I am, probably 25 years older than me. And at that time, somebody I'd become pretty close with in the years prior, she was probably the most spiritually evolved person that I knew at the time. And still to this day, I mean, she's incredibly spiritually involved. But at that time, we had a conversation that really irked me, excuse me, and has never really been something that I've forgotten about, and I still get a little bit of a charge when I think about it. And we were sitting in my then home in Santa Fe, here in New Mexico, and she was visiting, staying with me for a few days, and a conversation about a recent ex of mine came up, and it was sort of a breakup that was difficult emotionally, but also there were some messy financial details that were entailed with that, and I took the brunt objectively of having to pick up those pieces. It's something that I just decided to let go when I needed to. The person left and left me holding a quite a bit of a financial responsibility that was never taken care of on his end. So. But the bottom line is that we were talking about him, and my friend and I were kind of going back and forth. And she said, "Well, if he were to come through town for some reason, work, whatever, and needed a place to stay for the night, would you let him stay?" And I said, without even thinking, I said, "Well, of course I would. Of course I'd let him stay." And she was taken aback by that, and we had a little bit of a debate about um, how well, I don't know, wise that would be, or even just how I could possibly let this person in my home and stay overnight. And believe me, there would be nothing between us in that night. It would simply be give me a place to stay. But no, how could I possibly turn this person away? It didn't matter what they did to me, or that I opened myself up to or allowed to happen in the breakup. It's just, that was done, and we moved on. And if the person needed a place to stay, of course they could. And I still feel that same way now. But my point in this is that my friend and I have really never been the same since, because I learned something in that conversation that as spiritually evolved as she was and is, we were evolved in different ways. And I was only coming into myself at that time. This is about 25 years ago. And only beginning to understand who I was inside and had only begun my journey of what I call Paradise Rediscovered. I was becoming conscious of that process and the importance of learning about who I really am and living my life in integrity with that. And I realized that my inner integrity, even though I didn't know what to call it at the time, was directing me to be open in my heart to my ex in a time of need, if that were ever to happen, and that that was okay. And that the difference that I had with my friend was also okay because we didn't have to agree on that. But on the other hand, I had to follow what was my inner guide in telling me what the appropriate thing would be in that situation. Our relationship, my friend and I, has never really been as close because I think we both realized that we had different values. But that's okay. I have many people have gone out of my life over the years because of our values that were different enough that we couldn't live our lives side by side the way that we were. Now, with this particular friend, that didn't happen. We still are in touch and we have our relationship, but it still was a core piece of me that was very, very different than she. And it was an important learning for me because I had to come into myself and I had to stand up and say, no, this is what I believe. This is what feels right. This is my inner integrity that's guiding me in this moment. And it's okay. And no one else has to agree with that or even understand it. And I think that's what's really, really important. And I wrote something on a meme this week in Facebook and on Instagram on a picture. And I said, forgiveness question mark. And then underneath I said, understanding exclamation point. And I really, truly believe that one of the things I'm learning in my inner integrity is that it's most important for me to understand where other people are coming from, not so much to get to a point of forgiving them. And I think if I come to a place of understanding them, as I did with my ex and understood why he acted from the place that he did, there was no need to forgive because forgiveness was already sort of beyond the point. Once you can understand where someone's coming from, there's no need for forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that's sort of beside the point at that point. And I think that's what my friend was getting confused. She was thinking that I was somehow forgiving his behavior, my ex's behavior, and I think I did in a way, but that wasn't the focus of my knowing in that moment that she and I were having the conversation. It was more about me having to come to a place of feeling at peace that I understood where my ex was coming from, why he acted as he did, and I moved past it. And forgiveness became unnecessary, and it wasn't a conversation I needed to have with my friend as to whether I could forgive him or not. So as we get closer to understanding what our inner integrity is, we get closer to understanding that that is a place deep inside us that other people may never fully be able to embrace with us because it's a very personal experience. Integrity is a very personal experience. But you come to a place where your life becomes incredibly peaceful. It's incredibly peaceful to be able to take what comes at you and not react to it because your integrity inside tells you how to respond. And if you're responding from that place of integrity, there's no battle. Everything is just fine the way it is. What happens to you happens to you. If it involves a person, the person is doing what the person's doing, but it's not something that's challenging who you are as an individual, as a being, as a spiritual being. And you come to that place of peace and are able to kind of transcend, I guess, the experience, transcend the moment, and move forward without kind of getting shaken up inside. So this week, what I'd like you to do is to think about how you approach situations in your life from day to day. Maybe find something today because things happen every day. Um, how you approach situations that might rattle some other people, or other people might look at you and wonder why you responded the way that you did. And ask yourself, what is it that's guiding you in this situation that allows you to respond the way that you did. Or if you're not able to find an example of a situation where you were able to respond in a way that was just very peaceful and calm despite what was going on, ask yourself, if you were to do it again and really go into yourself and find that inner integrity, how you would have responded and how it would have been different. And how other people in your life might have looked at you and what they might have said in response to what they saw you doing. Because chances are, if other people in your life don't understand it very well, then you're responding from your place of inner integrity. Because it's very difficult, as I said, for people who are not in you, inside you, to understand how you can come to the conclusion that you did and respond the way that you chose to. So take the opportunity this week to look for examples of you either responding from a place of inner integrity or wanting to, even if you're not sure that you can, and what the difference is between what you'd like to do and what you actually did in that situation. And let that be a clue. Remember, this journey of Paradise Rediscovered is all about collecting data. It's about collecting clues to who you really are. Sometimes in retrospect, and sometimes having the foresight to be able to tap into that and use it in the moment, but many times in retrospect, many times learning from your experiences and how you'd like to respond differently going forward, and then putting that puzzle together, the pieces of that puzzle together in a way that gives you a much clearer picture of who you really are. So play with that this week and let us know in the comments below before you go what you're thinking in this moment, and then come back during the week and let us know your comments and your experiences that you're having on this tapping into your inner integrity task that I'm giving you for the week. So before you go ahead and make those comments here now. Come back later and make the comments, and be sure that wherever you are viewing this, whether it's on Facebook Live or on replay in Facebook or drmarkacuri.com on the resources video archives page, Instagram. Well, no, I keep saying it won't be there on Instagram, but wherever it may be, or on an audio podcast is what I meant to say. Be sure and scroll around, find the link for our monthly free giveaway, and sign up for that. It's the end of June right now in real time, the end of May. Good Lord, it is too early for me. And so we'll be coming to the end of this month's contest, and next month, the 1st of June, we'll be getting a brand new contest, but you can get in on this month's contest before the month ends. Sign up for that. Sign up again on June 1st for next month, and also check out all the free downloads at drmarkacuri.com. So lots of love and gratitude from Santa Fe, New Mexico today. I appreciate you being here whenever that is, and look forward to seeing you next week when we go on to Chapter 6 of Paradise Rediscovered. Lots and lots of blessings to you. Have a wonderful day.